there, welcome back to Go Mega Otaku Gamer Alpha. I'm the Mega Otaku Gamer. I'm Ken Chan. And today I have to apologize for something. The device I'm reviewing today that I'm going to talk about, the screen is too small. And even though it is backlit, I'm not able to get a very decent image off of it with this equipment. So what I'm going to do anyway, I'm still going to talk about it. Today we're talking about the Game Boy Light. Okay, and this is a Japanese-only system, never sold in this country. It is a backlit version, electroluminescent backlight is what it uses to light up your Game Boy games. And it plays Japanese games, but it also plays American games. You don't just have to play the Japanese games on it. Okay? I'll tell you a little bit about it here. The Game Boy Light was released in April of 1998 in Japan for 6,800 yen. Wow. It was only slightly bigger than a Game Boy Pocket. It features an electroluminescent backlight for low light conditions. It uses 2 AA batteries, which gave it approximately 20 hours with the light off and 12 with the light on, meaning the light, this light that's in here. They had it in gold and silver. There was an Astro Boy edition. There was a Pokemon Center Tokyo edition. There was a Skeleton Famitsu edition. They only had 5,000 of those released. Those are very rare. And of course, it was the only Nintendo handheld that had backlight feature on it until the Game Boy Advance SP was released in 2003. And it's powered with a custom 8-bit Sharp LR35902 core CPU running at 4.19 megahertz. I think I can fart 4.19 megahertz. But anyway, a little bit about it, other than the fact that it does light up. It is small. This is the cartridge port here. The cartridges just slide right in here. And then you power it on right here. And you can power it on one of two ways. This is the regular setting here. You probably can't even see this because it's too bright in here. And then the light comes on there. It's a backlit thing. I don't know if you probably can't see that. Doesn't matter. And this is Parodius here. But I'm going to give you a rundown of some cool games for your Game Boy and in general, and Game Boy Light in particular. Okay, and I'm going to look at some Japanese games here first. And what we got? What do we got here, Japanese-wise? Well, we got Super Mario Land 2, Japanese edition. A little bit more rare than the American edition. A little bit harder to find. Of course, Mario has the bunny ears going on there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Parodius, one of my favorites. I know the PlayStation version has cats. It's a shooter game, and in the PlayStation version, that cats shoot poo out of their butts at things and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. Nothing like watching a cat shoot down enemies with poo coming out of their butts. But this doesn't have the poo coming out of a cat butt here. One of my favorite characters. This is Shin-Chan, Crayon Shin-Chan. This is the second one. I'm not exactly sure about the title of this. I know it has Shin-Chan in it. We got the Japanese version of Wario Land 3. There we have, yeah. We have this is. Then we start getting into some of the American things here. F1 race, F1 Grand Prix. Okay, and then we get into the American games here, more or less. And of course, Super Mario Land, the first one. That's the American version there. You can't do Game Boy unless you have Tetris. You gotta have Tetris. If you don't have Tetris, you're doing it wrong. Wario Land 2. These are all good ones. Kirby's Dream Land, which is surprisingly good. I like the little dance that he does. He splits into 3 dudes, and he does like the little dance. Donkey Kong Land, which is it's a spin-off of Donkey Kong Country. It's like back then the Super NES had the Donkey Kong Country. This had the Donkey Kong Land. This is Zelda Link's Awakening here, and these are all recommended titles for Game Boy. Some of these I wouldn't recommend, like Alone in the Dark or Yoda Stories. Yoda Stories is something that probably, you know, somebody else would want to review, like maybe the Angry Nerd or something like that. Turok, not the same as the Nintendo 64 Turok. Killer Instinct, quite good. A little bit of damage there to the label. And of course, Mortal Kombat. Here we got 1 and 3. And there's a couple more games in the back there that I did not dig out. But overall, the system is quite good. It's and because it's backlit, you can pretty much take it anywhere. Backlighting makes something like this more portable. You don't have to have one of those overhead lights. Like, yeah, I've seen. I used to have a overhead light for Game Boy that mounted on the console itself, and it kind of hung over the front. And you turn the light on, and it had its own separate batteries and everything. And you ended up with this big chump in your hand, this brick with this stuff hanging all over it, just to be able to play this stuff. And this was a lot better of a solution. It's a shame it was only released in Japan. We could have used this over here. But then again, I don't think they think that we needed it that bad, because at that point the Game Boy was kicking everybody's butt. Nobody could touch them at that time. So I'm going to go ahead and recommend this system to anyone that plays Game Boy. If you can get your hands on one, it's well worth picking it up. You can play your Game Boy games. Still that pea green screen, but it has that backlight, and it's quite good. I'm going to go ahead and recommend the Game Boy Light from Nintendo.